Welcome to Blind with a Vision, where we always have a vision.
Of course, on Blind with a Vision, we always have a vision. And we are exploring, the streets here in Southern California, right?
Right.
And one of the things we found here today is the bubbly pavement.
Yeah,
That I believe you guys call it.
we do.
Yeah. And tell us about Trevor. We're talking about it.
Well, they're actually incredibly useful because we were talking about how they have put something similar into certain metro stations in certain cities, and how that's very useful because we as the blind or low vision can actually walk from, say, the ticket hall down to the platforms.
These are called guides.
Uh-huh.
For example, in Mexico.
Yes.
You said they're in Italy. You saw this in Italy.
I did, yeah.
And I always wonder how come they haven't done this here in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
or create these guides.
Yeah.
Right?
And they haven't done it in London either.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
We were saying that having these guides with maybe bubbly pavement
Yeah.
in a smaller version could be a totally way for us to guide ourselves when going to the university, hospitals.
Well, it could
I don't know,
be.
tell me about locations where you see it.
Yeah,
happen.
I mean, I feel that sometimes one of my thoughts was that actually when you get off a bus and you walk from a bus stop to the entrance of a mall, right? Sometimes we know that at bus stops it can be quite complicated. There can often be a lot of people moving about, a lot going on. So if you could have one of these guides, and I'm just showing these bobbly pavements again. If you could have one of these guides that actually you could walk from the bus stop straight to the entrance of the mall, it would save so much time. It would reassure you that you were on the right track, and also you know that there's a lot of glass frontage of a lot of these places, so you're never sure if you're heading to the doors first time, right? So I feel that something like that would be great.
It could totally guide us. I went to Mexico City,
Mm-hmm.
close to the school for the blind, and I didn't know that what I was feeling on the sidewalk, it was a guide for the blind, for blacks.
Right.
And I don't know if you can describe this for someone that is totally blind, Trevor, and they have never seen this. Maybe
Okay.
you can, if
So-
you videotape this and tell the
Yeah.
color and our idea about the color and the sound and
So-
countdown.
So this is around about, I'd say, 2.5 feet wide. And one thing I noticed is that when you put your cane on it as opposed to the concrete, it's a totally different sound. I don't know whether you want to just drag your cane across there.
And this is going on where describe that we were coming from that building over there.
Yeah, so where we are is actually, it's crossing a corner. So there are two buildings. They're not joined, but there's a route across the parking lot from one building to another. But actually, as you cross, there are these bobbly pavements, and they're actually very useful to get from one place to another.
Well, they usually have this on around it, on corners,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
For the, I guess, rounded corners for
Yeah.
wheelchairs.
Yeah.
So people that is on wheelchair, they don't just, I guess it's so they don't slide. Is it a way for them not to
I think that,
stop the wheelchair?
well, it could be, but I also think it's these are at the corners sometimes so that you know
A
where to
mark?
cross.
Okay.
Hmm.
And you're telling me that these are yellow, right?
They're yellow. I have heard that these are easy to see, or
Yes.
easier to see if you have
For
a
sighted
little bit of
people.
vision, and for sighted people too. But these are yellow. Yeah.
For one of the things here they do on stairs, going up to your second floor to your apartment, garage, and that is suggested for older people, because as you get older your sight is not as good as it used to, and it's not that you're blind, but it's a way for people to see the steps, right? Because sometimes
Yes.
the steps blend in with the
It's
floor?
true. They paint yellow lines on the edge of each step, and I've seen this, in those locations and in stadiums and things like that too. So
For
it's
safety.
for safety. Yeah.
So for the blind, for the low vision, what would you tell others if they're gonna decide to incorporate this in the, I don't know, say they're gonna do this in London? What would you tell them?
Well, for me, I would say this. I'd say it's been put in place in other cities. You mentioned Mexico. I've seen this in Milan. From what I've discovered, it seems that the Dubai Metro has it as well. And it is such a simple but extremely effective way that people with low vision or people who are blind can get from, for example, somewhere like the entrance down to a platform, and they know they're going the right way, because often places like stations can be incredibly cumbersome, and it can allow you to feel that you're really on the right track. You're really getting there quickly. It's very simple but unbelievably effective.
So, why do they have this here? Is this for wheelchair, or is it for people to walk through here? Or?
I believe that they may have put this here because to my left and your right, there is what appears to be a service section of the parking lot. So maybe they've put this here so that then you don't step into that service section of the parking lot.
Okay.
I believe that's possibly why.
And you just showed me how to come from that corner, because
Yes.
this is like a shopping area, right? With all these stores
That's right.
and parking in between.
Mm-hmm.
And we're walking to this store over here,
Yeah.
Dollar Tree on the left.
Yeah.
And for me, as someone that is totally blind,
Mm-hmm.
I have to be careful. I can't just not safe to cross the parking lot. I have
Yeah.
to follow specific
Yes.
you know, to point A, to point B, to point C.
Right.
So having guides when they build new shopping centers,
Yes.
incorporating the accessible universal,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, sidewalks
Yeah.
would be very helpful.
It would be. I completely
I-
agree.
I call that inclusivity. Inclusion.
I do too. And it's unbelievable what it could do.
So let me have the phone and show you so you can tell me more when you're low vision.
Okay.
Hopefully I'm getting you.
Mm-hmm.
Blind videographer here. Okay, so Trevor is low vision, right?
Yeah.
Uses a cane.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the color of these bubbly pavements. Tell me how quickly, in 3 minutes, how do you really visualize this dream of the guides for the blind in cities? I don't know, any city.
I see it as something that with these bobbles, or it could be just different, so the cane,
I'm gonna show it.
It sort of,
I'm gonna show that.
yeah, it sort of slides across. It's a different sound, for example, to this
To the
one,
regular
but-
pavement, right?
Right, to
Like
the
a
regular
sidewalk.
pavement.
Because
Right.
it's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, if these could go in this format, it could be like this, whatever. It wouldn't have to be.
I mean, this is a whole, like a walkway, very broad, very
Right, absolutely,
wide.
this is very broad.
We're
Wouldn't
not
have to be-
we're not asking for too much, right?
No. It doesn't have to be this broad, but just something that we could, for example,
Like a three
like
line
this.
of little
Yeah.
bubbly pavement.
like this, and you could.
I mean, we don't want this to get in the way for people that are
you don't want it
wheelchair,
to get in the way, but it could be-
strollers, older
Right.
people. It could be easily incorporated on the side of the sidewalk.
Of course, it could be. It could be. And indoors, it could be incorporated probably even better. When you think of different floors and different sort of feedback, through the cane and what have you, I believe that it could do so much. And as we were always talking, I mean, we talk a lot about building modern buildings and putting in all sorts of environmentally saving devices, solar, so on, so forth. With this, I don't think it would be difficult to incorporate something like this at all. And that could be a mall, it could be a train station, it could even be walking from the entrance to a terminal in an airport.
I would have loved to have this at the university.
Yes.
I used to get lost from the disabled student services to go to the library.
Yeah.
In between classes, I just want to go and do homework over there like
Yeah.
anybody else.
Yeah.
And
Of course.
students, thousands of students who are standing out there, do not move. Even if they see you coming with a cane, airport would be a great idea.
Yes, it really
Right?
would. Yeah.
And something like is discreet. I'm not asking to have the whole floor with all these bubbles, right?
Of course not. But there are areas, as we know, that can be particularly challenging to get around.
Yeah.
So it would be great to look at the possibility of doing that and looking forward, you know, when structures are being built.
You were mentioning something that glows in the dark because as a low vision, your sight gets a little.
Yeah, sometimes it gets more difficult at night, so it's more difficult for me to see. But I feel that if there was a possibility of making something that glows, you know, in the
What
dark.
about with sound?
Well,
Some kind of Bluetooth connection to the phone that when you, or some sensor
well,
that
would be
I'm showing the floor right here, that when you are walking and you step, I don't know, somewhere that there is like a little ding.
Yeah. Well,
And something quiet. It
Right.
doesn't have to be loud.
But you'd have to say that the technology possibilities now, we've got such a range of options available. Be it something through a sensor, be it putting in these tactile bobbles into the sidewalk or inside a building. There are options. There are things available. So I really feel we are in a brilliant position to look at these options and think about how we really could incorporate this.
Yeah, I was describing that in Mexico they have this at the metro area, and it's like a little kind of line dip along the wall, if I remember correctly. I think it's a great idea. I also, when I went to Guide Dogs of America to get my guide dog, the dorms, going as soon as we get to the beginning of the hallway where the dorms are, left and right, they have this bubbly. So you know you're heading to the dorms. And I thought about it since then.
Yeah.
So that would be a great idea.
That would be
Anything
great.
else?
No, I think that's all. I just really like to see something happening in this department.
That would be easier. I mean, we don't want all the streets to be labeled with bubbly.
Of course not.
But something like that, very discreet. Something that we're able to just allow us to, you know, just to get out there.
Yeah.
To decrease the isolation of blind people. And to really work on the whole independence.
Yeah.
And overall the inclusion, right? The vision of inclusion of people with disabilities. But why don't we walk to the store and we just videotape here, right?
All right.
And they can hear the tap on the bubbly treatment. All right. So we usually walk together, right? And I'm just showing the floor. So I'm following that. You're able to see it. Let me see, I'm showing our cranes hopefully. And I feel this is where the environment for me changes. I know there is a wall on the left, you probably see it.
Yeah.
And let me see. Believe it or not, imagine that they have the little bubbles here, right? What do they have here? They have those bubbles here. So I'm walking on the sidewalk and this on the right is helping me.
And these ones, I believe, are to let you know that to the right-hand side of them, the parking lot begins.
Ah, that is cool.
So that you don't walk
All
further
right, all right. And I keep going them.
There you go.
And the
Here
store
we
is
are.
here? Right, all right.
All right.
Woohoo. Oh, we should leave, right?
We should.
Go shopping before they
Go
close?
shopping.
Yeah.
Yep.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye.